And we are back for episode 6. Episode 6 of the podcast. We're going to have to change the name, and we're going to have to change... I'm going to have to reset the whole Buzzsprout thing to me as the co-host and you as the real host, because I had to openly text and admit to Carl today that I have not touched a barbell squat or bench in 2 months, 8 weeks, and today I admittedly and ashamed did my first Planet Fitness workout, and I'm just a shallow shell of a man that I used to be.
We can't talk too much on the Planet Fitness workouts because they're you can get what you need done in a pinch there. I'm not going to shit on you for that. I will.
Jess told me you've been to that one in a pinch after work.
Yes.
It wasn't bad. The machines are smooth. It was. The crowd sucks, but the machines were smooth. But I actually got a pretty good leg day in it.
I'll make fun of you outside the podcast, but for now I'll say it's fine.
I will take that. In all the things that have torn me apart, nothing has made me more whole. Covering the good, the bad, and the shit that keeps us going. Straight from the head ref's table, I'm still your host, Papa Bear Rogers, and you are listening to A Forest Through the Trees, a Cave podcast. Here with the man, the myth, the legend, my co-host, Carly Master, Big C.
Big C, what's going on, guys?
So today we have a really cool, I like this, Carl actually came up. You came up with most of this whole episode.
I had a few points I jotted down and sent to you.
Dude, it's literally I think I added the top 5, but I think you did the rest, and I just organized it.
Yeah, mine was a big cluttered mess, and I said, here you go, you can do whatever you want with
this. Yeah. But this is Carl's doing for this episode, so I am hyped to do this one. Gave me a little leeway this week, some time we switched places. I got time to think on subjects instead of writing them all down and send them to you, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought this would be a great episode, and so did Carl, that we talk about coaching. Right? So what makes a coach, what breaks a coach, things to look for while you're looking for a new coach, a first-time coach, maybe some sort of roundabout ranking system we could do of the top 5 things you should look for, how these individual coaches change based on beginner to intermediate to advanced levels, raw versus equipped lifting, natty versus unnatty, all kinds of different plethoras. And we could also even talk about maybe difference in coaching with feds too. I mean, that does make or break some too.
Aren't there feds that allow you have to be a coach for only that fed?
You do, and there's even ones where you have to purposely. I think you even have to purchase a season pass with your athlete.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's super strict. Good thing we don't do any of those.
Sounds like some IPF stuff.
Sounds like some not fun. If you're listening to this, don't do that fed. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Do whatever fed you want. If you're doing powerlifting, me and Carl are happy to meet you and happy you're doing powerlifting. So let's just kick it off, man. So what defines a coach? So Carl, if I said, what is a coach to you? What would you explain that to me as?
I would explain it as somebody who directs you, and it's a teaching position. You're showing somebody how things work in the sport. You're showing them directions to obtain a higher skill in their aspect. Whatever they're trying, and get better at it. I don't know.
You're helping them also, I would say, in a kind of roundabout way, what you're saying is you're helping them set a goal and using your expertise supposedly in that area, obtain that goal.
Yeah, using your expertise to obtain a goal that you both set together, or if they have their own ideas they come to you with, then you're going along with that.
Yeah, I would definitely define a coach as someone who has a higher level expertise in the field, being whatever sport that is, but of course in our case we're talking powerlifting, that can pass knowledge down, offer very high quality advice and things to follow in order for you both to feed off of one another to achieve that client or athlete's set goal. And I think one of the big proponents of that is programming, but you made a great text to me the other day asking we should talk about the difference between coaching and programming.
Yeah.
Right? And I think I totally agree with that.
You've stood on that problem. I shouldn't say problem. You've stood on that topic for a while.
I've stood on business for that topic for a long time because there is a very long time I took a break from coaching and just did strictly programming because I love the math and the experimentation and finding things that work, but I'm also not always, or I wasn't always the best at being empathetic towards people's needs, wants, whines. Mm-hmm. So I disliked the people aspect of it a lot more than I loved the mathematic percentage, ratios, all those kind of aspects.
So on a programming side compared to a coaching side, it's a lot more personal on the coaching side.
It's very much so, because in a coaching aspect, you're forming a dynamic relationship between, client and athlete and that coach, right? You have to know the inner workings of that person. You have to know a lot more with meat history, experience level, muscle fiber. You take size and weight into account. You take past and previous injuries, things that are going to arise. You take in their activity level, their daily schedule, like all sorts of things go into coaching versus programming. I feel is someone looking more for intermediate to basic knowledge in basically script, right? Here's the movie script. I need you to act out all these parts, right? So I give you the script to go out and venture into the world and use the magical world of YouTube and Google to figure out a lot of that stuff, right? And it's usually at an extremely reduced rate,
Okay.
right? So you're paying simply for the purpose of that programming, whether it be, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6-week blocks, or up front for 3 months, whatever, right? Versus coaching where you're interacting with that client and offering technical feedback and skill throughout the duration of those weeks you're working together, right? Usually talking to the athlete every day, every other day, or set check-in days that you and the athlete establish. But yeah, and I would say, of course, coaching is going to cost a lot more because not only are you just, offering the programming that's going with that, but now you're giving them access to your time.
Yeah.
Right? Because now you have my phone number. Now you text me. Now you send me videos. We talk technical cues. We talk about what went good, what went bad. How do we fix these issues? How do we look forward into the next block and change things to help, implicate those problems we're seeing in that certain block of programming, how we can move past and make that better in the next one. And that also incorporates into, peaks, deloads,
Sure.
how different athletes respond to those. Like for you and me, for example, I know personally you and me I'll usually write a block, usually really like the block, and then you'll offer me feedback on that block, and I'll also offer feedback to you based on how I've seen you doing literally alongside me in the rack, right?
In real time.
Right. So we'll say, hey, this is what went really well. Maybe if we change this 2 up, or instead of taking this 3 here, I'd like an option to take, 3 sets at 2 versus 2 sets at 3.
Right. Interchangeable.
Right.
Yeah.
And we talked about that a little last podcast with you and how you kept going up in doubles and it would lead to that single.
Yes.
And then later on you would take that past single for a double and have a new single to chase, right? And we kind of worked that into your programming, and that works wonders for you.
That won't always be the case.
Well, and that's a good point to be said anyways, because it's not always the case, right? But for a lot of those things, we don't try to reinvent the wheel until it's time to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because if you chase all the way up to that and we still banged out an 810 with some gas in the tank,
Sure.
we should probably headlong that a little bit more
until
we see what happens. But we did talk about programming things we want to fix for bench, which is incorporating the floor press, dead press for that lockout, and also some of that control in that top part of the shirt.
And so you would say that's that's on the coaching side of it, that's like the personal connection between you and the athlete of like, hey, we're changing things on the fly, we're adapting to it as we go, and it's not just a set program you're giving somebody for them to follow.
Absolutely. And I would also say that while we're talking about coaching, it is important to note the big differences between in-person coaching versus online coaching.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to.
Okay, good. Yeah, because like for example, I had a client drop from Connecticut, Kevin. He came in on Saturday and worked with me. And little minute things I couldn't see in a video based on, whether it was the gym equipment, what he was wearing, a shitty video taken angle. Like we fixed stuff within 10 minutes. And it was because he's like, man, it's so much different. You can see things closer up. And some habits, in order to break or individually see them, take that in-person lesson.
Yeah.
Right? So I do, there is a lot more to it than that. I think you do get, unfortunately, we've talked a little bit about this on podcasts previously before, where you do get some very inexperienced quote unquote coaches, right? They'll do their first meet or two. Hey, hit me up in DM bio for coaching when they got like a 300 dots. and I will get into our top 5.
That's
Like,
when
you
we-
could get me talking on that
That's
all
when we
day
go dox
long.
the open powerlifting. We see what they got going on.
We're only 10 minutes in. You can't get me this heated into the podcast
I think you
episode
did
already.
it to yourself. I didn't do much to it.
I'm just like chomping at the bit to like just bite people's heads off with that shit. But how can you determine if you need a coach? And that's a big question.
Yeah, no, I think I would say the easiest way to determine if you need a coach is if in your own training and within your knowledge of the sport, if you've become stagnant, that'd be a great cue to be like, hey, maybe I need someone to give me some direction somewhere else and take a different path, because right now what I'm doing isn't providing me results that I want.
I think that's a great answer and a short and direct to the point answer. I think another one we could also include into that is I think confidence level matters a lot.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're a lifter and you're getting into powerlifting and you're like, dude, like, I really want to do this and I have a basic idea, but I feel like I'm in way over my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need that confidence guidance as well. Like, just for ease of mind. I know a lot of athletes that literally want coaches too for accountability. Like, hey, if I don't have someone to send these videos in and tech talk with, like, I'm not going to do my shit.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it really depends on knowing the athlete and the coach's personalities together. Right? I know you're an athlete where I can tell you to do something one time and you're going to fucking do it. Right?
Right.
But that's not the case
Not
with all my
everyone's like
athletes.
that,
yeah,
yeah.
not everyone's
Someone's got
athlete.
to stay on.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like that, to get a message like, hey, like, how'd this go? Or did I get, I need videos from this or this day, whatever like that.
Right. And sometimes, like, that gets old as a coach chasing down clients for videos.
Because that's not really part of what you should
Yeah,
be doing.
like when you sign up with a coach, it's their job to check in on you, but like I shouldn't have to chase you down every 4 days and be like, hey bro, like you were supposed to send me videos 2 days ago, where
Did
we
you
at?
even work out?
Yeah, like where are we at? Where are we going? Or like if you have coaches that operate on like spreadsheets, right? Like, hey, you didn't fill your sheet out.
Yeah.
And I think that's individualized to the coach, right?
Yeah.
Like, I personally don't like spreadsheets. I make all my stuff from scratch. I'm not a big spreadsheet person just because I've also seen too many copy pasted shit that way as well. So,
true.
A lot of like flipping those, erasing names, sending shit. So I make all my stuff from scratch.
Scratch at a 5, write a 6.
Yeah, call it a day. And then I think that shapes how you look for coaches too, right? Because I think everyone who wants a coach or is considering a coach has different habits they either have built in the sport or habits they want to break in the sport, right? And I think looking at your coach and what they've done, and we'll get more into that, but more specifically, a great example I've always followed is this, right? So let's say my bench press sucks ass,
Okay.
right? Now, if I went to a coach and he was just, every meet was this incredible bench presser, right? And his other 2 lifts were pretty okay.
Right.
I'm not talking like a one-trick pony, like, oh, he's a specialist.
He's a bench specialist.
Also, if you call anybody a specialist, they're not a specialist. It just means they're good at one lift, and their other 2 they fucking suck at. So that doesn't mean they're a specialist. It means they're bad at the sport.
They're bad at 66% of the sport.
Mathematically, Carl is right. 0.3, right? So, like, dude, that's not a compliment.
Yeah.
You're a specialist. That means you're terrible at the other 2. You're bad at more than half. That's terrible, right? But I'm saying, like, if you had a guy that was always good at bench press, right?
Right.
Who never had to really work around problems to grow that bench press.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, why would I want you in particular for my bench press?
Yeah, you didn't have the experience to get around that, to grow that yourself. You just walked into it having something.
Yeah,
I'm
like
naturally
you
gifted
happen
at.
to be naturally gifted at that one lift, so you're
yeah.
like, hit me up for bench pressing tips. I'm like, well, maybe he's not doing anything special. Maybe he's just really fucking good at bench.
Now, what's a good way to see that? What's a good way to...
That is very hard to detect. I would, and that kind of leads us right into our top 5. So let's just push right into the top 5 so we can explain some of this. Very good flow, Carl. Look what happens when you write most of the thing. It just goes so
I know
natural.
what's next. I could just...
It's like you're so good. You're so good, man. Are you a coach? Are you a coach?
I got it on my belt. That should be enough, right?
Yeah, you do have. Oh shit, you do have it on your belt. It literally says Coach Carl. Hey man, and I would say your one athlete has a really good track record, but he doesn't. I was like, you coach Travis? Yeah, he fucking sucks and doesn't listen. He gets hurt all the time.
He also hasn't touched a barbell in forever.
Hey, whoa. Don't talk about PF Chang's fitness, okay? I love my PF Changs. But so I made a top 5. So I made a top 5 for me personally, and then I want to bounce them off of you and see if things you would change or add to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So my first one, and I didn't really write this in any particular order because I think even if you agree with a lot of these or disagree, I think that these can all be interchangeable as far as a client or athlete holding these accountable for which ones matter to them the most. Right. So my first one I wrote was, and this is big personal for me, you are your business card. Okay. And what I mean by that is I would never take nutrition for advice from someone who wasn't impressive to me, didn't look like the goal I wanted to achieve, or for lack of a better term, was sloppy. Right.
Okay.
Why would I take you if I look at you and you can't even yourself replicate the very goal, or at least close to it, that I'm trying to pursue, why would I want you, right? If you're not continually working on your craft that you're trying to pitch to me to buy, if you can't even hold yourself accountable, why would I trust you?
That's a great point. I would say to that maybe, like, say this person was on some super strict bodybuilding diet, protocols, and they were just in an off season and they weren't diced, they weren't shredded, and you were looking for some nutrition plans, but they can still offer that. At the time, they just weren't in that state of mind, though.
And I totally agree with that. And of course, there's always cavalcades and offshots of this too. For example, especially if we look into other sports, there's tons of decrepit, old, washed-up white guys who are great football coaches, but if you put them out there, would get fucked up, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and there's also people like that in the strength community, right?
Sure.
There are strength gurus who have had tons of success with clientele and were never the best athlete on the platform themselves.
Sure.
Now, that is something to weigh out and consider, right? Now, if they didn't check off a bunch of those boxes and that one was also one they didn't check off, I would say that's a pretty big red flag.
Yeah, I would think so.
Like, if you couldn't hit all these and then you also suck, like, I probably wouldn't hire you. You know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely agree. And you can, like I said, you can see that spanning across all sports. Baseball, football, everything really.
Yeah,
everything
any
really.
sport,
right? Do they have success? And of course, this leads right into that point.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have that thing as their business card, right? Do they have success in both self and clientele?
Like, who have they made?
Right. Who have they made? How are their current athletes doing? Have you done your research and seen these people at other events?
I would say, to add on to that, have they been able to hold on to athletes?
Oh, athlete retention.
Yeah.
Right? So how many people are return athletes? How long is the usual span or stay of an athlete?
Right. That'd probably be a big part, because if the person's really hard to work with and they're losing athletes left and right, like a big turnaround, then that's probably be a red flag as well.
See, and just like you argued my first point, I wouldn't say you argued. Strongly disagreed. No, you didn't. Me and Carl never argue. We really don't argue.
No, it's never a screaming match.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever yelled at each other once. I would slightly disagree with you, or not disagree, but have a change of opinion, right?
Sure.
So me, myself, as a coach, as you know, and you've heard horror stories from me about coaching.
Yeah, tons.
I tell you all the time, and you're like, yeah, you don't make this sound like something I would ever want to do. I've lost a couple athletes this last month or two.
Sure.
Right? And both, two of which, one was for they had a baby on the way, so they had to take a lead away from that, and totally understandable. Life happens. People get married. People people move away and need to change their finances. People, again, have children, like all kinds of stuff, like life events, definitely, for sure. Right. Mm-hmm. And so you have to consider those, but two of which, not proud to say, were very short-term athletes for me.
Okay.
Now, I think it hurts as a coach, because you always wonder of like, hey, what could I have done better? Mm-hmm. Right? But like other things too, like you have a lot of athletes that are very gung-ho to start. And then when you talk to them, you investigate them. I always have my athletes fill out an intake form, so I found out a lot more information about them and things like that, and how helps me how I'm going to design programming and coaching around that particular person, mm-hmm. Based on injury and all kinds of the stuff we listed earlier in this episode. But, a month goes by and they're already trying to get off program. Like they think they can do, and this comes with experience.
Yeah.
They've done a 1-4 week block.
Right.
And they're like, well, I'm going to test my maxes. And they don't tell you, just fucking go test them. And I'm like, bro, like that's not how these things work. Right. And I think you get a lot of people like that, or promise you as a coach the world. Like, I can't tell you how many people hit me up in my DMs and be like, bro, like, what's your workout split? I'm trying to get like you. Will you be my coach? And like, you know, maybe they're a new follower on Instagram or something like that. And like, again, I've said before, like, I'm nobody on Instagram, especially compared to like some other people. But like, you know, if they haven't been following you for a long time and seen the progress you've made in the journey you've been through as a coach and an athlete, like, I don't know if they build false expectations and are like, hey, well, I'm going to do this for, you know, 2 months and I'm going to look like that. Or I'm going to live like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then when they find out what it really takes, you get a lot of people that, and I don't get people that drop me. I get people that fucking ghost me. I'll be like, hey, man, haven't seen or heard from you in 2 days. What's up?
And then
A day goes by. Hey, buddy, just checking in. How's it going? Nothing. And then they just disappear and never talk to you again.
Huh.
And so it's very hard, I would say, with athlete retention when it comes like that, because then when I think you start looking at ratios like you're talking about, like how long do they hold on to athletes? Is it how long they hold on to athletes who willingly leave, like, hey, I need to make a change. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to go with somebody else, versus the ones who are staying. How do you count the ones that do shit like that?
Yeah. Well, I think that can go into the definition of the athlete. Like if somebody's like, oh, I want to be just like you, and then wants to hop on something like a program and then leaves, I wouldn't consider that person an athlete.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's just hard to, you know, it's hard not to feel a type of way about it.
Oh, for sure.
Because as a coach, it's your job to, and I talk to Jess about all this time too. It's your job to try not to take things personally.
Yeah.
Like, you go in expecting, again, dude, I can't. Do I just need to like massage your ass on this episode or something? They can't all be like Carl, right? They can't all be like you, man. They can't stick around and fucking put 100 pounds on their total every fucking meet. But it's like, you know, it's hard because you try not to take athletes leaving personally, but you have to realize like they're not you, right? Yeah. Like I know when you have a bad day, or I have a bad day, we put it to the side, we go and we do work the next day.
Yeah, you got to have some separation between that. You can't let it get, you know, in the way of
right,
what you want to do.
Right, but everyone's not like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we're built differently. Some would say incorrectly, but we are built differently.
So if I could speak on that real quick.
Sure, go for it.
When I was, so I've been, how long have I been with you? I would say.
You mean how long have I been with you?
Yeah. I'd say it's like a year or so now.
Yeah, it's been a year.
As
serious
coaching.
Because you can speak from both worlds, because you bought just programs for me when you were like, hey, I want to do something, but I'm not committed enough to do this part yet. And that was a different time in your life, which is totally fine. But like, you've done both parts.
Hearing you talk about what you put through, like your new clients you pick up, it's just me learning what I wasn't like doing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have enough spreadsheet that I filled out beforehand because we were already doing programming, working out together, and then I just hopped on to get some coaching.
Well, like I already knew you too. Like I knew your previous meet history. I knew what gym you were going to. Like I knew all these things about like.
This is a learning journey for me on what I didn't get to experience.
Yeah.
But
well, how dumb would it have been? I'm like, Carl, I need you to fill out your meet history, and you're like, dude, you know,
you were there for all.
You know, I haven't done a raw meet.
Yeah,
like you gave me my first bench shirt, bro.
So what I was getting at though, when I was, you know, I had a decision. You know, I knew what I wanted, but I had a decision to make on like who I wanted to have coach me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But a really big factor on that was the fact that now I didn't have the size at that point, but we were almost the same build, as in like, you know, your leverages, my leverages, about the same.
Yeah, we're both about 5'5", 5'6".
Yeah.
You're 5'6", I'm 5'5".
Yeah, right.
I'm not even 5'6" on a good day.
No one's tall
unless
here.
I wear the Tim Brown risers, the
heels.
Skechers with the extra 2 inches.
So looking at that point, I was like, well, if I just do everything he does and he tells me what to do, I don't see a reason I don't get better. And I just went with that.
It's so simple, yet it worked so well.
I know. Sometimes that's how it is.
Yeah. Sometimes
don't overcomplicate.
Yeah. Sometimes
anything.
the simple is what do they say? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Sometimes the easiest is the best way.
I was like, this guy
Well, I backtrack. I wouldn't say it was the easiest.
No,
it was the easiest.
This guy kind of looks like my build. You know, same leverages. Let me just start doing what he's doing. Hop on some coaching, and I'm if I don't get better, it's your fault, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can always just blame me. Hey, but does that not backtrack to point one? You look like your business card?
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So,
definitely.
like, I was what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So there we go.
There we go.
See? That's why it has merit. This one, everyone knows I was going to talk shit on this one. How involved in the sport are they, and how do they stay involved in the sport?
Okay.
Right? Because that was always a huge thing for me, right? Because I didn't want my athletes to just see me as like, hey, this is dude posted up in his DMs trying to make some quick bucks off a client. Like, I'm reffing a meet, I'm hosting a meet, I'm handling at a meet, I'm doing a meet, I'm owning a gym, like I'm writing for Elite FTS. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to do all the shit because I want to see this sport grow. Like, how invested is your coach in this sport? Do they give a fuck, or are they there for a quick buck? It's a great motto. I rhymed.
You gotta put that on a shirt.
Yeah. Quick buck. Do they give a fuck? That's the shirt.
Yeah, right.
And it's just a picture of my face on the back. But I think that's a big thing to consider because you and me have talked about this before, and I literally took a tinkle before this, and we were arguing about this as I was going to the bathroom with the door open. Does coaching count as giving back to the sport? I'll let you go first, Carl.
Okay. So the point I brought up was as a coach, and this is a specific scenario that you fall into. You have a facility that you coach in. You have a lot of, athletes in here, and you coach. I would say, I wouldn't say most, but I'd say some of them,
At least half.
Yeah, half. That's a good number. So you have people you can bring into this as a coach. You can bring new people into the sport, into this facility as a coach, and you're coaching them. And I would say that, in turn, grows the sport and is growing the sport, not giving back to it in a way.
It is, and I agreed with this, but now we're picking short straws. Like, we're picking prime examples, right? Because not only am I as a coach, I own a gym and I host meets, right? So those two in itself are bringing people into an environment some may not be used to, or maybe who just work out and now they're like, ooh, what is this powerlifting thing, right? So now you're exposing them to the sport and offering that chance to say, hey, I heard about this thing. I'm going to go watch this meet because my friend's doing it, right? And then we have brand new lifters here that are like, dude, after watching that, I want to do my first meet. I would definitely qualify that as growing the sport, right? In this facility, at our meets, 100%, right? But what I was saying is, if coaching is your full-time or, your full-time career or your make money side hustle, I don't want to say hustle because that makes it sound like you're being very
You're scheming.
Yeah, you're scheming because it's my side hustle because I'm a full-time school teacher, right? But I wouldn't say hustle makes it sound like you're in it. Yeah, like you're in it for just the money. Right. You know what I mean? But like, if you're making money to give people advice and help athletes at a meet and stuff like that, like that is direct income. That's not giving back. Right, like you're making usually, in the way some of these coaches charge, substantial financial gain from that.
You're getting direct return.
Yeah,
in a monetary value.
Yeah, big enough where if you got to put it on a separate shit for your taxes, like, bro, you're not giving back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's your job. And you saw me put up a real angry post at that. It was a couple meets ago. Yeah. I said, hey, if your athlete shows up to my table for weigh-ins at a meet I run at my gym, and I have to be like, hey, you need X, Y, and Z, that's a fucking problem.
Yeah, that's a problem on the coach's side.
Yeah, because you're allowing your athlete to show up to an event unprepared. Like, you didn't help them devise like a checklist of shit they needed for the meet. You didn't advise them to read the rule book. Like, now you're expecting other people to do your job for you that they pay you for, not me. If you want to show up to weigh-ins with none of that shit and pass me a 10 to help your ass out, that's one thing.
So that goes back to the definition.
By the way, that's never actually happened. I was just being very exaggerated. I don't want people to think I'm funneling $10 bills to help people out and be like, yeah, you need a singlet, bro.
So if when we go back to, say, defining a coach, if this person who is their coach is saying, well, my job is to make them stronger, they should read the rule book and what they need to do. How would you go about that?
Because we would then qualify powerliftings, and let's use a teaching metaphor because lo and behold, here I am.
There you are.
An exam would be the meet, right? You've prepped them with skills, practice, and knowledge to go take this test, aka the meet, and you insufficiently prepared them for it.
Okay.
They showed up with knowledge. You told them this shit was going to be on the test, and then you didn't help them review for it. You just let them dick out in the wind.
Would like bringing a singlet also tie into be like just bringing a pencil to the test? Like you should know to bring the pencil to the test.
Right. You should come prepared, right?
But is that on the athletes?
It's on both.
It's on both?
It's on both. Don't get me on this high horse. I'll get fucking heated right now. It's on everyone. If I send you 8 fucking emails as a meet director, say read your fucking rule book, and you didn't read it, your coach didn't read it, and both of y'all show up and be like, well, we do this one fed. Well, bitch, this ain't that fed, and you didn't fucking know how to read. So
and you knew it wasn't that fed when you signed up.
Yes, so now everyone is equally upset, and I am mad. So no, that is a direct reflection on your coach's like not being competent.
Inapt ability.
Yeah. So I would say if they're actively putting out like content, advice, giving back to the sport in that way, helping out events, staffing events, and like, yes, I do understand, well, if you are a good meet director, and I've talked about this before, you pay your staff. It ain't fucking a gold pool of coins, right? It's an allowance. So like, yes, if you get paid $40 to spot and load for the day, you still gave back to the sport. That might have bought your gas the way there and back. You know what I mean? So like, it's still volunteer work. But like, how much of that stuff are they doing? How much experience do they have with that? How much do they know outside of the sport besides just getting strong? And I think that's a huge proponent as a coach, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I got to get you strong, but if I don't have the necessary know-how and knowledge to let you show that off, what the fuck did we get strong for?
Yeah, and I would say that you're obviously teaching them some rules of the sport because you want to get them strong in those, to perform the lift on a platform within those rules.
And to go back to our previous 2 podcasts, we talk about meet specifics, right? And boiling down to how close can we get to practicing things in a competition standard. You got to know that so your athlete knows how to do that.
Yep.
I mean, and it's sad. It hurts my heart. I can't tell you how many meets you and me have done where we've had like, I have to pause the bench. I'm like, bro, what? Like, how you? And I feel bad for the athlete because then I'm like, dude, you are getting gypped.
And then they take their same attempts and they bomb
Yeah,
out.
they bomb out because it's too heavy for them to pause, or like they don't understand like the motionless concept, like, or they sink it and they're like, well, this is how I've always benched, and like, you know what I mean?
Not here.
Sorry. not here, buddy. But. And and it makes me feel bad for the athlete because then you're watching someone get ripped off.
Yeah, because they paid for a meet, they paid for a coaching service, they paid for all of this. They put a lot of their money into it, and it didn't come out. They weren't prepared.
Yeah.
Even with the money they put into it.
Number 4 is really big, financial, right? Because we're all adults, we all pay for our own shit.
Yep.
Right. So financial decisions based on a coach is really big. I've definitely been interested in. This is real big coming from me because. You know me, I don't do well with coaches.
Mm-hmm. Clearly.
I shut up, Carl. I've had a couple coaches in the past. I've definitely learned some stuff, some do's, some don'ts. But financial decision for coaches is a big commitment, right? Because like, not a lot of coaches won't go month to month, right? A lot of coaches want a signed pre-thing. 6 months up front, 3 months up front minimum, like something that's going to guarantee that you're putting in the time and you're paying them for not wasting theirs.
It's also a safety net for the coach as well. Like,
it is. I probably need to do more stuff like that, to be real with you, because I'm too nice. I let people go month to month and I usually get fucked for it.
And then I hear about it.
Yeah, and then you hear about it. I usually get fucked going month to month. But like, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And again, I do it because I like it. I don't do it because it's the most amount of money in the world. It's just what I like to do. But then you hear about other coaches and how much they're charging. Like, it's absolutely fucking unreal. And like, I understand, like, okay, so here's how I look at coaching. Like, if it is their full-time career and you have 24/7 or, pretty close to that, hour access to them, right? They would definitely charge more. That makes sense to me because they're talking to you every fucking day, even multiple times a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might be doing Zoom call check-ins and shit. Like,
you're paying for that luxury.
Right, because you have almost unlimited access to that person. Now me, I'm a full-time school teacher. I do this on the side. I explain that to clients up front. I think as long as you're up front with your clients and they understand that and they understand how that's differing and reflects on the rate that they're paying, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm saying, hey, I'm a full-time school teacher. This is what I offer for coaching. This is what you can expect from me. And because of that, here is the reduced rate I charge. Right? So I do charge traditionally a lot lower than other coaches. But again, because I'm a school teacher, you can't text me at 12 in the afternoon when I got a fucking classroom full of 40 12th graders trying not to beat the shit out of each other while reading a book, and me be like, hey man, this is what I need you to do for squat. So like, it is different. And again, I think as a coach, as long as you're upfront with your athletes, that prices can be adjusted accordingly. Now, I've seen some crazy shit that looked like they made, like while they were taking a shit in notes on their iPhone and then send them that for the week and charging fucking $300-400 a month for it, which is absolutely fucking insane. Right? So like, if you're going to charge like that kind of backbreaking money for a lot of people, like make sure you're worth it, right? Make sure the time that they're paying you for is being put back, right? And again, that's why I don't charge crazy prices, because I want it to be fair and reflect the time I'm allowed to give. Now, if I ever decided to make that full time and I had unlimited access to people, I would probably charge more, because I'd be talking to you every single day, multiple times a day, It would be different. But again, as long as you're setting those boundaries, both as a client and a coach, and communicating that with each other. And again, communication is the key for both those relationships to work on either side of that fence. So I think that's a very important part of coaching a lot of people miss. Because a lot of athletes think, like, I'm going to pay you this chunk of money and I'm going to get better, right? But that's not true.
Nothing's guaranteed.
Nothing's guaranteed. That's why it needs to be a communication and a relationship, right?
Right. No, I agree with that.
And then finally, my fifth one I wrote down was the variety in coaching/programming styles, right? Because if it was up to you and me, we'd say, fuck that, everyone's doing conjugate.
I hope you have access to bands and chains, because that's all you're using.
Bands and chains for everyone. You get a bow bar, and you get an SSB, and you get a camber, right? We should be doling them shits out, left and right.
But not everybody has that.
Not everyone has access to that. Again, reasons for intake forms, and also experience levels, right? Like, are you working with, your younger to middle-aged parent who's just working out at home and has a really nice rack in their little garage gym, right? Are you coaching someone that has a commercial gym, has access to your basic things like weights, dumbbells, machines, and some straight bars? Or are you coaching someone who has the full shebang-a-bang with bands, chains, and actually goes to a designated powerlifting gym, right? All those things take into account on what can be programmed, how we can get around those things, different things we can substitute to make life easier versus not only easier, but things they can handle if there's previous injuries and things like that. But like having that multiple coaching style in your back pocket, whether it be, conjugate, linear, stripped down versions of different things, ways to peak differently, seeing how your athlete revolves around. And like, of course, like we've discussed with our peak, we like to, kind of ease in, shoot high, and then down, and then taper in the last two, versus, there's some people who still peak right into the meet.
That's right.
Right? So, I mean, having different ideas and expressing those and talking with your athlete and getting to know them and how they're going to perform based on those things and what they've had success for previously is always a good thing to know and have on the back burner.
So what you're saying is, if you're looking for a coach, you want to be able to say, hey, this person has done a lot. They have tried a lot, and they might know a lot of stuff that doesn't work and a lot of stuff that does work, so it'd be a good option to go to.
Yeah, and for example, so let's just say, and we're back to that wonderful, wonderful world of open powerlifting. If you don't want to open powerlifting, as we talked about last episode, it is the worldwide database for meets going all the way back into like the 70s.
You can't hide.
That they've updated, so very important thing, when your coach says, yeah, I've done X, Y, and Z, fact check that motherfucker. You can look up anyone you want to on open powerlifting and determine immediately if they are full to the brim of their eyeballs with bullshit.
Yeah.
So, hey bro, I really like your bench, man. I think my best is like 800 at a meet. Look that shit up. It was 500. You are a fucking false there, friend. You did 800 to a fucking two board. That's a real story. I had a guy tell me that.
That was at push
And
pull.
then
That was at a push pull.
it was at a
Remember
push
that.
pull, and I immediately checked because I thought it would be funny, and I smiled so big and told Carl, "Nah, bro." Fact checked him on the spot. So I mean, like, make sure you do your research on your coach. Talk to friends. Talk to other athletes. There's nothing wrong with investigating your coach. Actually, it's highly recommended.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That'd be the main thing. I'd
Right?
recommend.
Do they have some scandals and skeletons that you need to know about? Because some coaches do. Jeez, especially in this day and age. Jesus Christ, dude. I don't even want to get on that subject. We
No.
need a whole nother episode for that. It's fucking nuts. Just keep your fucking hands to yourself. But like, make sure they're experienced all over, and especially in what you're looking to do.
Yep.
Right? So, like, one of the things, not to toot my horn, but one of the things I pride myself is, if you go search me up in open powerlifting, we always joke around.
You got the Infinity Gauntlet.
I got the gauntlet, bro. You see my name, it says raw, wraps, multi, single ply, unlimited. I've done every single category, and to a high degree.
Yeah, I would say so.
So, thanks, Carl. So, like, that's one of the things I pride myself on because I want to be well-rounded. I want to experience it all. I want to do as many different feds as I can. I want to do as much different equipment or not equipment as I can. Like, I want to experience it all in powerlifting as a whole because that's what I love about powerlifting is its diversity, right?
Yeah.
Being strong one way doesn't guarantee you being strong another way, and vice versa, right? You can try new things out.
There are always freaks, though, that are just strong in every aspect.
There is for sure, for sure. You know, two of my people that really got me into gear are those people, Amber Alice and
Yeah.
Micah Moreno, both freaks and
Freaks in nature.
in raw gear, whatever you put them in, they're fucking good. And that's one of the things that inspired me to, you know, get into equipment because I also wanted to be well-rounded at everything. But not to get long-winded on it, but just make sure your coach has those credentials. And please, for the love of God, search them online from powerlifting. If you've done more meets than them, shut that shit the fuck down. They should not be your coach.
I would never provide coaching for a raw meet, you know, because I do not.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
competed raw.
I mean,
I'm
and,
not going
that's
to.
that's a good point though, Carl. Like,
Like if you, it's that kind of situation you want to look out for.
yeah, if they tell you like, hey, can you coach me? I'm an equipment, and you look on their thing and they've never done an equipped meet, like
Probably
I
not.
would probably not fucking ask them to coach you.
Unless you like do some digging and there's like a lot of stuff they've done outside of a meet in equipment and they're pretty proficient in it. That's the only.
And that's very slim and in between.
Yeah, why would you have so much experience and not have a meet under your belt with that?
Right. So, I mean, again, there are tribulations and different off routes to these kinds of things, but base theory and what we're talking about is if they don't check the box, you shouldn't be sending them a check.
Yeah.
Another t-shirt.
nice. Yeah,
Another
really
t-shirt.
good, really
Another
good.
t-shirt. Banging. We're going to have like 3 coin t-shirts by the end of this episode. It's just going to be an unchecked box and then like a cashier's check with a giant X through it. And then like a little no finger on the back. That'd be cool. That'd be such a dumb t-shirt. How does a coach change approaches when looking at a variety of lifters from beginner to advanced? And then in parentheses, I had years versus experience, injury versus longevity, etc.
Okay. Where do you want to start with that?
Let's look at beginners. Let's look
Okay.
at beginners because I have a feeling like a lot of our listeners are beginner to intermediate.
Yeah, definitely in that rank.
Also, how would we define that? What would you say is over intermediate? Is there a certain amount of time in the sport or a certain amount of meets in a sport?
I would say it's meets.
Yeah,
Because
so-
you can be lifting for a while in a powerlifting aspect, but not have a lot of meets, and you're still.
That's
I
true.
would still
That's
consider
true.
yourself a beginner.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know if there's a correct number.
No, that's definitely up to interpretation. Personally, I would say an intermediate level would be after like 5 meets, maybe 6.
Yeah. I'd say getting closer to like 10.
Yeah.
Like I would say like 7 to 10. That
Okay.
was where I would ballpark.
Okay.
7 to 10.
And that makes sense because you have like 30 and I have like 7.
So you're almost out of there, Carl. You're almost intermediate.
Yeah.
But no, I think so too. Like especially in that regard, you need to have that experience. Like And I think one of the things you and me joke about is if you can't do it twice, it's a fluke.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if they can't put two good meets together and you've seen growth in between those on open powerlifting,
You're like,
like,
oh, that was just a mistake the first time.
Right. Like, they had a good meet, which is great, but, like, learning to navigate the platform.
You can't replicate that.
Yeah. Learning to navigate the platform and meet experience trumps a lot of things, right? Learning to be cool-headed on the platform. Learning to know when to, push the gas pedal and when to back off, knowing what you have for the day. All that comes with meet experience and working with that coach.
I think that's something you showed me a lot when I was getting into doing more meets, and after my third or fourth, equip meet, was being level-headed and cool on the platform. That, it really helps you in the long run during that meet.
Yeah, well, I mean, being that amped up for 8 fucking hours and not trying to chill and be logical about things takes a toll on your body.
It all just comes with meet experience, and a good coach should have a lot of meet experience.
Yeah, I agree. But if we're talking about like beginners versus intermediate and advanced, I talked a lot about this yesterday when we were kind of spitballing some ideas. I think you and me were spitballing ideas for this Sunday when we were working out. And I said, I think a really big thing with beginners, and it's a lot of it's because of social media and YouTube outlets, is even when they start, like that, even that first 6 months to a year of powerlifting, everyone thinks they need something special, right? I need individualized this. Hey, coach, I'm glad I signed up with you. These are my weaknesses. I'm like, bro, this is your first year of powerlifting. You know what's weak? Everything, bro. You are weak. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean, like, it is a fact.
Yeah.
Like, you are not proficient at any of the movements. You don't have any meet experience. And we don't know where your weaknesses is because it's all weak. We're like, coach, I can't seem to lock out my bench. No shit, you bench like 135, dude. Like, it's you got to get stronger first. Like, then we'll look at and reevaluate where we're going with what we need to program to build up some weaknesses. But right now, you just simply need to build muscle and skill.
So you'd say it's on the coach's side to determine what needs to be worked on, not the athletes?
I would say yes, because if the athlete didn't believe that, why would they pay you money?
I see that.
Right?
Yeah,
You're paying me money for my opinion and telling you what I think you need.
Yeah, just for clarification on it. Yeah, I agree with that. Like,
yeah, so I mean, like,
side.
If they were like, well, no, I didn't need that, well, I'm like, well, then
what are you here for?
Go coach yourself, bro. Like, you got this in the bag already.
If you know more, go ahead.
Yeah, you got this. Go get them, Tiger. Like, send them on their way. But eventually down the line, like, I've worked with some advanced level athletes too. One of which, my good friend Zach Myers. And I will say he was one of the hardest athletes to program for.
Okay.
Because not only was he freakishly strong, like we broke the world record in
275s?
275s and 308s.
Back in like 2020, I think, right?
Yeah. Because then after coaching with me, he was the Greeno, and then they took another year or two to re-break that record. But so me and Zach broke some world records together when I was coaching him. But he was one of the hardest athletes to program for because he was so fucking strong and the lifts were so dangerous. You know what I mean? It's like when you look at his percentage ranges and you're talking like, fuck, dude, this is like 700 to 800 pounds, like on a normal, like all the time. Like that's very hard to know when to push. And his bench was ungodly too. I mean, his bench was over 600 pounds raw. So it's like, it was a very hard thing to coach for. And I learned a lot from that experience, and I'm very grateful for Zach. Shout out Zach if he listens to this. Him and Allison moved to Texas. Miss those guys.
They got a meet coming up real soon.
They do. Two very, very good people. Very happy he found his way with Greeno, and they're doing well. Because Greeno just had some really good success on the platform at PLU Nets. I saw he had a couple athletes take the podium. So good for him too. But shout out to them. And just... when we were flipping through my phone the other day, there's the pictures of me and Zach from the USPA coaching seminar here, eating muffins and bullshit. Me and him always eating together. But miss those guys, man. I hope you guys are doing good. But I mean, it gets hard because the stronger an athlete gets, the more meets you have to kind of reel back on because you start risking longevity.
Okay.
Right? Like, how long can you push this kind of weight? Like, yes, it's in their percentage range. Yes, they can handle it. But, like, how long can you handle that for?
That's when you find out how much of a freak you are. Like, you're a freak. You're super strong. You're a freak athlete. But are you built to, like, last?
Are you built different?
Are you built to last in that range? Like, is that the extra level of freakiness that you have?
And from a personal standpoint, I learned the answer for me was no. So I am built differently now, including with nuts and bolts. I have
a few wires and cords.
Yeah, I have 3 pins in both knees/quads, and then 4 in an elbow with a wire. So I'm doing really good. Almost made it all around the world. I got 1 more elbow to go.
Find a coach that's been rebuilt so they know what doesn't work.
You know how I can teach you how to squat? Because I've had to do it 3 different times. You know how I can get you to bench 405? I've had to do it 3 different times. So when you constantly have to reevaluate what you're doing and rebuild yourself from the ground up. And again, that flashes all the way back to that first conversation we had. Were they always good at it? Did they have struggles where they had to rebuild or revamp or learn how to do something more proficiently in order to correct that?
Right.
All right, so that definitely has some merit.
It's a good tie-in.
Yeah, it has some good merit to it. We're kind of coming towards the end here. I want to hit this one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Coaches develop relationships, and we've talked about this, and this is very close to me, especially for us.
Yeah. I would say so.
I might cry.
You might cry?
I might shed one for you.
That's not.
I might pour a monster out for the homie. Coaches develop relationships and friendships. Even how can one separate those lines? And when is it time to be a coach versus a friend?
Right.
And now you and me have a great relationship with this, and we joke a lot about it because I always tell you, as a friend, that would be fucking awesome. You should do that shit. As your coach, I need you to reel it in and be responsible and get your shit together.
It usually ends up being said on the dynamic effort days.
Yeah. I'm like, hey. He's like, hey, if I add this, it'll be a 5-pound DEPR. I'm like, or we could stick to our ranges. We could do that.
Or we don't take that at all.
Yeah, or we could chill out. But what would you say on that? How will we keep those lines separate?
It's a really gray area. I would say, as a coach, you know what you want your athlete to be doing, and you know the direct lines of when you want to keep them in. And once they start straying out of that range, that's when you have to like re-step in, like, hey, this is what I gave you, this is what we're supposed to be doing. I know you're capable of that, but it's not what we should be doing right now at all.
I agree.
And that's when you have to set boundaries in that area. Like there are things we need to be doing at this point, and that is not it.
And on to add on to that was a really good answer. I think that as a coach, it's your job to get athletes being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Pushing those boundaries, pushing those limits, building those confidence in things they're not confident in.
Right.
But at the same time, as a coach, you also have to get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations.
It's true.
Right? Like, there are times like, dude, you have to chew someone's ass out for being fucking dumb.
Irresponsible.
Yeah, like, dude, like, I'm going to bitch you out because, like, these are the calls we made. We agreed to them. You metaphorically signed off on them. And then we went to the meet, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
It's not even close to the same.
Yeah,
numbers.
it's not even close. We even put in last warm-ups, and, like, here we are. So, like, again, if you're going to pay for a coach and listen to the coach.
Otherwise, you're wasting your money.
You're wasting your
burning.
money, and you're wasting their time.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, speaking from experience, we would much rather fill a spot on the team who is someone's going to be responsible, communicate properly, and listen.
Yeah.
Than someone who's going to be a fucking headache.
Someone who's going to be a wild card, and you're not going to.
Yeah. Like, I love having talented lifters on the team, and which is great. But if you're not that strong, but you listen, I'd much rather coach that, right? If you're coachable, that's an amazing quality to have.
Yeah,
right?
I think being coachable stems back super far back, even to like childhood. Like if you're thrown into like sports as like a child, like little league or something like that, or any youth leagues, and you're taught how to be coachable at a young age, that can play a huge part into your later on career, getting into a powerlifting, sport.
Shit, it carries over to your job.
Yeah,
right.
Even that.
Can you take criticism and advice without fighting back?
Yeah,
right,
or
like
falling apart.
Right, like can you understand like these critiques and make good on those in order to correct a certain thing for the benefit?
Yeah, definitely.
But I agree. Like, it is hard to keep those lines separate as a coach and a friend. You know, there's been some hardships with me, and I think every coach goes through that. Like, you learn what's, you try not, again, it always rounds back to you try not to take things personal.
Yeah.
But when you become close with athletes and they become friends, they become, you know, if we have a big team for No Luck.
You're talking to these people every day almost. You're
Yeah.
gonna develop.
They
some
come
sort of
to all
relationship
your
with them.
meets. They come to your gym. They work out with you. They do other stuff with you.
Yeah.
Like Team No Luck is big.
It's huge.
We have a big team.
Yeah.
Like when I see all those No Luck shirts in one spot, like dude, it's hard
It's
to not
cool.
be emotional.
It's
Like
cool.
it's hard to see all those people with your name and your logo, with your trust in you and your wife as a team. Like that's fucking phenomenal.
At the end of the meet, we got like 20 people up on the platform taking a picture.
Yeah,
together.
it's
so cool.
hard. And it's hard. And that it stems away from not only just coaching, but like our staff team, our everything, like a bunch of people putting their trust in you. Right? So like that's a hard thing to keep separate. And it's a hard thing to, you know, at the end of the day, when you get paid from someone, it's hard to look at that money and go, this is a business transaction. Right? Because as a coach, like you never want to think about your clients like that. Even though like that is, you know, dude, that's what keeps the lights on here.
Yeah.
That's what keeps this place open. That's what keeps our meets going. That's what
right.
keeps our equipment. You know what I mean? But like, it's hard. It's a very hard thing to learn and navigate and experience. And if you are a coach and you're listening to this, man, I hope you take away some of these points and apply it to your coaching. Or if there's some points we made that you haven't thought about or need to re-examine in your own coaching life, me included. I hope this does you well, man. I really do. It's a hard job. It's a fucking hard job.
And you got to go into it with no expectations too,
You
because
do.
like anything could happen. You know, I've heard people say before, like, if God forbid something happens with your job or something like that, really the first thing you're going to look at getting rid of would be either a gym or a coach.
Yeah. So know that your job as a coach is highly expendable.
Yeah.
It's one thing that's going to be the first thing to go.
Yep.
Right? Like, hey, we got to cut funding for this. We need to save up for this. We need to do this. You're the one they're getting rid of.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
And that doesn't, and you had to take that not personal because it doesn't matter if you're a great coach.
you
Like,
can be the best coach.
yeah,
ever.
it's just like,
That's what it is.
it is what it is. And it's hard. It's a revolving door, and it's very hard to accept that sometimes. But a couple things before we dip. If you're a coach, quote unquote, and you've done like 3 meets, get the fuck out of here. Nobody needs your shit. Take that shit out of your bio. Get some more experience. There's nothing wrong. With getting experience before you try to provide a better experience for other people. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually very noble. So fucking do that and stop trying to blow smoke up people's asses when you barely know what a fucking meat is. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And there's so many people doing that. Like, it's crazy too, because even at our meets, like 2 months later, I'll see that shit, and I'm like, I just watched this person do like their first or second meet, dude. Like, I just watched this.
Yeah, and they got some like DM me for my discount code.
Yeah, it's wild, dude. Like, I just watched that happen. So don't be that person, man. Don't be that person. But quick shout out. If you want to get your buzz on, if you want to bark like a big dog, we need to get some Sup Dog supplements from our man Chris Northern, master supplement dude of the DMV area. We got the new one. It's what flavor?
We got the new one. I didn't know we got a new one.
Yeah, we did get the new one, but what's the flavor? It's not grape. You told me it wasn't grape.
Oh, it's like a blackberry.
Yeah, blackberry. It's blackberry. Because we've been doing it up on the peach. But all the sources are laid out, clinically dosed, good shit. Great flavor, mixes well, top of the line, and supports our local strongman and powerlifting events and this podcast. So please check that out. My man Liam Zone Canada, always making the best ammonia for all the different things. They just sponsored PLU Nationals.
Seen that.
I know they're sponsoring ABS as well. So
Like I said,
his
he's
name's
everywhere.
out there. He's everywhere, man. Doing good things for the sport, providing you high quality sniffies. I see that shit on every banner. And I see my lovely bear graphics on all of them too. And we got a new flavor dropping close to October. So keep your eyes out for that.
Can you talk about that? Are you allowed
No,
to talk
I'm not allowed to talk about that. That's on the hush. And last but not least, my man, Big John Flagg, with his book, Foundational Strength, and his coaching team, Rebuild Stronger. Speaking of good
Very
coaches,
topical.
speaking of good coaches, hit him up if you're looking for some clear, concise, and bulletproof advice from the man himself, who also has a very stacked open powerlifting, checks one of the boxes we just talked about,
That's
right? And has published a book. He knows his shit. He's involved in the sport. So shout out John. Closing remarks, Big C.
I think we talked about everything pretty great.
That was pretty invested.
Yeah, definitely. I think we did great. So that's about it.
Word. Episode 6. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The last 6 weeks of doing this has been absolutely phenomenal. Loving this. With love and grumpy paws, we're out of here.
Later.